That was one of the scariest times of my life. You can fire me, I don't care. But then I took out like 8,000 Canadian dollars from my savings to invest into that mentorship.
Is like pretty risky, but like it's this or nothing.
Literally, at 13 years old, I had made like $2,000 in 2 days. And I was like, you know what? I like money. My journey to high ticket was interesting. Some of my biggest sales were 40,000, 25,000 for a lounge. Definitely adds up very quickly, approximately 300,000. A lot of people, they think that using AI to make money just means like you enter a prompt and then all of a sudden like money's just gonna drop into your lap.
Like this is what I've always wanted, and now I have it, and now I'm letting it go. Like,
It feels crazy, huh?
yeah, it feels like what the fuck are you doing? You're so insane. Like,
Now you get to reach your destiny much faster. At the end of 2024, there was a customer that was placing orders at my store. I was extremely happy. I was like, what an amazing way to end the year. Turns out these orders were fraudulent.
today we have Kelly joining us on the show. She and her journey breaks literally every so-called rule to success that anyone was taught. She scaled her high-ticket business to 200K, all while still working at a corporate job, literally stepping out of the meeting room to take sales in between, doing it all to then making one of the most gut-driven decision any CEO could ever make, choosing to walk away and close down the business that she has built to completely step into a new chapter, a new business model. So, welcome to the show,
Thank you
Kelly.
for having me. I'm really happy to be here today.
I really want to start off with your journey and like your background. When you first started deciding to study in e-commerce, like did you know that after that you were gonna take that and do a business?
To be honest, when I was younger, my dream was to be an actress. And that was the first time that I actually saw myself come up with an idea and actually make it happen. So there was a time where I booked a role and it was a Lifetime movie. And I think at 13 years old, I had made like $2,000 in 2 days. And back then, it was a lot of money for me. So at that moment, I was like, you know what? I like money. So I decided that, acting is not as permanent and stable. And I learned about entrepreneurship. So ever since I learned about entrepreneurship, I have just been obsessed. So I would say my entrepreneurship journey definitely started around, I would say, 16 years old. I've just always been really obsessed with technology from a young age. So around the age of 16, I was kind of like dabbling with just different ideas and whatnot. So that's where it ultimately started. Yeah.
You kind of got pulled into the high ticket sales. How did that happen?
Yes, so my journey to high ticket was interesting to say the least, but I think everybody can say that about their own journeys. So I was really obsessed with technology, and even though I knew that I could sell products to make money online, but I knew that it required physical effort. And I've just always been obsessed with the idea of like just the soft life when it comes to making money. I knew that even if it was going to be hard to establish myself within a field where it wouldn't require too much of me, I still wanted to make sure that I did something that just required a laptop and time, basically. So ultimately, what I've tried so many different business models, it's insane. I've tried out Amazon FBA, I've tried selling on Etsy, selling on eBay, I've heard of Forex, I've sold attempted to sell digital products. You name it, I've tried it. But one thing I won't do is I won't negatively speak on these side hustles because I do acknowledge that I didn't necessarily give it my all. The one business model where I really saw the most success at first was Amazon FBA. And the reason why is because that time I decided to actually invest in mentorship. So around that time, I got my first mentor. So I paid around $1,000 to get into the mentorship program, and thankfully I met one of my best friends there. So definitely, I'm very grateful for that opportunity. But having a mentor helped me realize that, okay, well, if I have a question, I have a person to go to and ask. It just made it so much easier. Whenever you are experiencing any bottlenecks, you have a person that can help you find a solution rather than having to spend hours and hours on Google trying to find, the answers to it. And sometimes it can, I'm saying hours, but sometimes just having to take hours to look up something will make you procrastinate, and hours turn into days and weeks. So having a mentor definitely helped me fast track everything, and I ended up breaking even with Amazon FBA, but I didn't like the fact that I had to buy the products up front to ship it to the Amazon warehouse, because you never know if it's going to sell or not. So I figured, okay, I need to find a business model that is different. My best friend at the time, she was very successful in low ticket drop shipping. So she planted the seed of drop shipping in my mind. I didn't find a mentor for low ticket drop shipping, but there was a time I was scrolling on Twitter and I found my mentor, the high ticket drop shipping mentor. So he had very simple tweet. All it said was, you buy a product. Let's say, for example, you buy a product for $1,000, you sell it for 2,000, you keep 1,000. Obviously, it's not that simple, but that simplified tweet made it so clear for me that, okay, you know what? I've been into drop shipping, but let me take a look at high ticket drop shipping. I learned a lot about just his program, and I decided to take the leap of faith and pull the trigger and buy the program. That was one of the scariest times of my life, because that mentorship program was 6,000 US dollars, and although to some it might be extreme huge amount, to other people it might not be a lot, obviously to like extremely wealthy people, but to me around that time it was a risky decision, because I wasn't really having the best time at my job. So imagine when you have a job, you tell yourself, okay, well, I have my savings, whatever, you can fire me,
Yeah.
I don't care. But then now you go, and I took out like 8,000 Canadian dollars from my savings to invest into that mentorship. So I was like, you know what? This has to work. Like there's no ifs and buts. So that's how I got into high ticket drop shipping. So I just found the program, and I decided that I was going to commit myself, and I was not going to play around at all.
You really like put yourself against the wall, and I think a lot of people can relate to that, kind of like putting yourself in that corner of like, yeah, this is like pretty risky, but like it's this or nothing. So, but
Literally.
like, how was that juggle building that business and also kind of like being, I don't know if it was full time or part time into that job?
I was still full time at my job. When you clock out of your 9 to 5, you clock into your 5 to 9 is what I've been is like the saying basically. So it's something that I was already used to doing. It's just that I was investing a lot of my time into things that I didn't have guidance towards. So now it actually felt even better knowing that when I clock out of work and I put in some time towards my business, that it's going to translate into success and money because I have the mentorship.
I really want you to tell how it was to be in the meeting and then stepping out to take like sales calls, like that's kind of like that's crazy dedication right there. And like I don't know if you want to share more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, basically, the high ticket program, the reason why I gave it my all is because they had like a money back guarantee clause. The money back guarantee clause, it basically said you have to show up weekly, you have to allocate at least 15 hours of your time to your business every single week. Every Friday, you give an update on your progress, and every week you have there's multiple training calls, but you have to attend at least one training call. And when you invest $8,000 of your money, you're going to make sure that you satisfy every single criteria, because I told myself I either walk out with the guaranteed amount that they said that I would generate, which was about 10,000, or I get my money back. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do every single thing. So one of their coaching calls was during my work hours. Every time he used to hear me whisper, he was like, "Yep, Kelly's in the office again." And I was like, "Yep." So what I used to do is I would be sitting down at my desk at the office. I would have like an earphone, and sometimes I would either type in my questions, or I would like whisper it in the call. And that was my way of like kind of working while like working on my business while working like at my job basically.
Like living literally like you were living like a double life. When you scaled to 200K your business, what do you believe like made the biggest difference in terms of like reaching that goal, even though you didn't even have like the full time like freedom yet, you know?
I said I had made 200,000. It was technically 260,000 USD, which is approximately 300,000. The reason why I'm correcting is just because if ever I use it in like, if ever I mention my journey, I want to make sure that I correct myself so that way I don't look like I'm making up something in the upcoming videos. But what helped was just obviously selling high ticket products, because whenever you sell high ticket products, you make a lot of money during those sales. So some of my biggest sales were 40,000, I believe, for a church, 25,000 for a lounge, and 16,000 for a hospitality business. So it definitely adds up very quickly whenever like you're dealing with these higher numbers. But using AI, I think that is definitely a life hack. Some people, they might look down upon AI right now, but they're just it's not in their advantage to do that, because right now I feel like even me, the knowledge that I have, I even feel behind because every single day there's new technology that comes out. But ultimately, when it was time for me to use AI for my business, I used it to kind of support my decision making rather than just fully rely on it. And I think that's what helped me a lot, because whenever you deal with a business that copy pasted everything from AI, you'll definitely like you'll see it. But one of my most interesting stories is I was one day laying down. I was at my mom's in my room and I was laying down on my bed, and then I see a call come in from my client, and I'm like, okay, I pick up the call, and then it's the guy that has the lounge in LA, and he's like, I want speakers. And I'm like, okay. So I asked ChatGPT while I'm on the call, I'm asking ChatGPT, I'm like, okay, this client just called me, he wants speakers. What questions do I even ask him to know what to sell? And ChatGPT was like, okay, ask him for the size of the room. Do you want speakers, amplified? Like, what do you want, etc. So it gave me the list of questions, and I was able to come up with like a proper setup for him. And he placed like multiple like orders, which added up to the 25K. But literally, it started off from me just laying down in bed, and then I used ChatGPT to get me to ask the right questions, and that generated 25,000 for the business. A lot of people, they think that using AI to make money just means like you enter a prompt and then all of a sudden like money's just gonna drop into your lap. But it's different ways. It's like you just have to use it strategically, basically. So yeah.
Have you ever sold like that speaker before? I guess not. Like before that?
No, it
Okay,
was my first
yeah.
time selling those speakers. Yep.
Oh my God. Yeah. So that's amazing. I really want to talk about outgrowing your business and kind of like what that has been like for you, because I can also relate to that. I started out as a makeup artist and it's very left field. Well, not that left field from what I'm doing now, but like it's definitely uh it was definitely something to kind of like outgrow the makeup business and be like, actually, what I'm really fucking good at is content and like marketing and promoting my business. And, and so and so I really want to talk about kind of like how it was like for you to outgrow that business and decide like, you know what, I kind of want something different.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately for me, it was forced upon me more than it was a decision, but I've learned to be at peace with what happened. So, basically at the end of 2024, there was a customer that was placing orders at my store. I was extremely happy. I was like, what an amazing way to end the year. And turns out these orders were fraudulent. So, around that time of the year, I was going through a lot. So that was obviously took a toll on my mental. That was actually the first chargeback that I got for that customer was at 11:45 the day before my birthday. So I didn't even get the chance to truly enjoy my birthday because of that. And then eventually, there's so many other things that happened in my life that I could have definitely kept running my business and I could have kept sorry. I think my mind is just all over the place because of that story, but I could have kept running my business and generated the money back and continued on and grew because my goal was always to scale the business and eventually sell it. But because everything that I had going on, I just didn't have the mental capacity to continue. So basically, when that happened, I was kind of forced to. I wasn't forced to, but I made the decision to no longer continue my operations, and that was bittersweet because my clients are like my babies. I love them and appreciated them so much. There's so many of them that returned because professionalism and quality of like service is really important to me. And also there's the relationship that I built with my supplier. So it gets to a point where I was talking to her every day. I was one of her top clients at some point, so we had a really good relationship. So walking away from that was very difficult. But what I felt is a lot of conversations that I was having with my friends, I realized that many of my friends came to me for advice, whether it's like for business, it's like, oh, look at my website, let me know what you think, or I'm doing this, what do you think? And I used to always give out free advice, and I did it with pleasure because I'm truly passionate about it. But eventually I realized I should really offer that as a service.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when I was thinking about doing that, my drop shipping service was actually preventing me from doing that because of the fact that I really wanted to give it my all, because whenever you focus on too many things, then it gets really hard to be successful at one thing. And had it not been for me feeling forced to close my business, I don't think I would have ever done this shift. My drop shipping business, sometimes I'm out eating with friends. Even in my therapy sessions, I would get like a client on live chat on my website, for example. If you're on live chat, you want instant answers. Just as much as if you call, you want the business to pick up the phone right away. And I realized my dropshipping business didn't really give me that work-life balance that I always strive to have. So once I noticed that, I was like, okay, well, I was gonna work on expanding and scaling so I can have employees, but even that requires a lot of work because you have to ensure that you're still providing the same quality. You need to make sure that they're knowledgeable, etc., etc. They may not know how to hop on chat gpt and ask a bunch of questions in a field that they're not
Yeah.
an expert in. When all of that happened and I was forced to do the shift, it was a bittersweet, but I knew that I was going to be in alignment with what my calling was. I feel like my calling is really to help people. I love business, I love systems, I love strategy. So as much as it was hurtful to have to do the switch, I was really happy that I now felt more aligned with like my purpose and everything. So as much as it's sad, I'm very happy with where I'm at and where I'm heading because of the alignment. And when you're really aligned with like your purpose, things just feel so much easier.
Alignment is a big thing because I feel like even for me, for like a really long time, I was really trying to like hold on to like my, kind of like you said, like your business is like your baby and you're like, When I first started my makeup business, like if I would have done the shift then, like I didn't really have anything to lose, you know what I mean? Like you don't have like a clientele when you start, you don't have like a reputation, you don't have anything. When you build up all of these things, this reputation, and like everyone knows you for that one thing, and like people love your work and everything, like it becomes part of almost like, I don't know, like it's part of your identity. It's like who you are. You know what I mean? Like it's like you at your core. At least for me, the hardest part was to do the shift of the business was the identity part, and also kind of like feeling like this is what I've
Yes.
always wanted, and now I have it and now I'm letting it go. Like
It feels crazy, huh?
yeah, it feels like what the fuck are you doing? You're so insane. Like this is just not it anymore. Like this is just yeah, and I feel like a lot of people like can relate to being kind of like on that tipping edge of like, this is like who I am, who I've always been, and then like you're doing the shift, but you're not there yet. You're not on the other side of like that other identity yet. And I feel like that's like the awkward in between that's like the hardest part.
I completely agree. And my friend that does low ticket drop shipping, she does, like, she used to sell viral products. So she had to learn to create, like, let's say a website, it goes viral, she makes thousands, and then eventually it might die down. So she planted the seed of the idea of just learning how to let go early on for me. At the time that she introduced me to the idea of letting go and whatnot, I was like, yeah, yeah, sure, but like, high ticket dropshipping is my thing, so I don't think I'm letting go until like I'm like, extremely successful in selling my business. But learning how to let go and to shift is actually very important in business, because a lot of times we might also catch ourselves pouring into certain things that just no longer serve us. And so I think it's really, really important to learn when something no longer serves you, or when it's time to do that shift. Because unfortunately, a lot of people are still planting like dead plants. Wait,
Dead
not planting dead
plant.
plants, watering dead plants.
Watering dead plant.
Watering dead plants. So it's really important, I think, to learn how to let go, because now you get to reach your destiny much faster, because you're not like in that denial stage of, no, this is definitely my thing and I cannot let go of it.
How has it been for you, like doing that shift of like, product base to now like service base?
As far as identity goes, I think I've always been known as the person that's just passionate about business, the person that loves to help and everything. So I think that I was always like, I'm able to maintain that part of my identity. What I would say though is, offering a service means that you need to establish yourself as an expert in that, within that field. And to establish yourself as an expert within that field, it requires you to put yourself out there. And that is the part that I struggle with the most, because as I've mentioned, I've always looked for simple business models, especially the ones that didn't require me to get in front of a camera. So now going from how can I say?
Being like more faceless, I guess, like, more like in the behind the scenes, and then you're like stepping into the light for the first time.
Exactly. It's definitely hard, but one thing I told myself is last year, so 2025 was the year that I told myself I'm going to step out and remain out of my comfort zone. But one thing about goals is, whenever you set them, you always have to remind yourself of them. So I do remember telling myself, you know what, like, I will step out of my comfort zone, but there were times where I did forget. So the times where I did forget and I did step out of my comfort zone, it's almost like I wanted to jump back into my comfort zone, but I forgot that I need to remain within that comfort zone in order to grow. Because a lot of times, people, whenever they step out of their comfort zone, that eventually becomes their new comfort zone, because they stayed in discomfort for so long. I'm not sure if you've seen, like, let's say the TikTok videos. There's people that are practicing rejection therapy.
Yes.
So basically, they go out and they're actively looking for people that are telling them no, and then they end up getting so many yeses that are opening doors for them that they wouldn't even have noticed. And then it shocks them, because they're like, oh, I was expecting to get rejected, and now here I am with so many more opportunities that I didn't expect. So this year is definitely a year that I'm going to have to step out of my comfort zone. One of the stories that I have is, there is a lady, she decorated the venue for a wedding. The wedding went viral, and I was seeing her, a lot of people were asking for her services, and she didn't have a website yet. She didn't even have a form to get the information from the client. So I literally stayed all night building a website and, a form and everything for her, so that way she could, like, kind of monetize this momentum that she's experiencing. Eventually, I reached out to her, but I reached out from my personal page. I'm a person, I like to be low key. I don't like to talk about business. So even my personal page doesn't talk about business. So if going through my personal page, you won't know that I'm an expert in my field, because I don't talk about it. So when I reached out to her, she was like, oh, and I gave her a very low price, because I am very comfortable with offering high ticket prices, but I lowered it for her, and she did not, she said it was out of her budget. One thing about pricing is, it's I mean, obviously some people may actually not have the budget, but it just means that I may not have accurately communicated the value of the service to her. And then that's in that moment I realized, you know what? I definitely do need my personal branding, because if I had a page that showed her all of the results that I have, all the money I've generated online, she would realize that I'm actually lowballing my offer by a whole lot. You know? So in that moment I was like, you know what? I'm going to have to step out of my comfort zone, put myself out there, talk about what I know and whatnot. At the end of the day, I still have so much to do. Me being on this podcast is a step forward, obviously, but it doesn't change the fact that when it comes down to my content, I need to find structure. So right now in the new year, I'm trying to structure myself. I'm going to create a personal website where that actually communicates the value, and talks about my experience and whatnot. But this is me attempting to step out of my comfort zone and shifting that identity, and embracing the newness of it, basically.
Well, I think you're doing a great job at it. This is one of the biggest skill anyone can have. It's something you can't pass on. Like especially like your personal brand is kind of like an extension of you. And as long as you're filtering out yourself, as long as you are not fully embracing like your edge or just what you truly believe in or like what truly makes you so different that basically will repel a lot of people. Well, that's also the thing that will attract all of the right people. I want to tell like everyone tuning in how me and Kelly actually started talking is because we were at a CEO female CEO event in Montreal, and the host was actually calling out people that were sitting down in the chairs and being like, who wants to come up and like introduce themselves under like, I don't know if it was like 30 seconds or something. And you went there and you went on the stage and you introduced yourself and everything, and I thought that like, oh, like this is really interesting what she's saying, and that's actually why I decided to come and talk to you, and then we ended up talking, and then here we are, you know. So this episode would have not been even existed for people to listen. Like, isn't that crazy?
Exactly. So that's why, honestly, visibility is key. Visibility is so key. And the crazy thing is, what led me to going on that stage is I arrived late at that event, and I told myself, you know what, I'm going to go there and I'm going to meet five new girls. So by the time I got there, I think I had 10 minutes before they started talking on the stage. So 10 minutes of networking time, and I had connected with three girls, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm on fire. Like 10 minutes and three different people, like that's not too bad. Because that just meant I was like two people away from reaching my goal of like connecting with five new ladies. And by the time that we sat down, I was like, okay, there's a girl to my left, there's a girl to my right. I'm just gonna connect with them and reach my goal. So as soon as Ashley said that there was a 30-second challenge, when I tell you I was waving my hand up in the air, I was like, you have to choose me. Did I have something to say? Absolutely not. I did not plan a damn thing, but I was like, I need to get on that stage because it's just going to help me fast track my networking, like, like goal that I had for that night. So when I went on the stage, there's so like after having gone on the stage and per, not what would the word be? Just I don't know, just making up like the my bio in the 30 like in a few seconds to meet the 30-second criteria. Thankfully I said things that resonated with the ladies that were in the crowd. So eventually, after that set, like after that moment, there was many ladies that actually came to me, and they spoke to me about, like, let's say their business automation needs and whatnot. And actually, some of them I'm like working with them, so I've made a return on investment on my ticket that I got from that like that networking event. And it's actually one of my goals to attend more networking events. So I definitely saw what visibility can do, and that's why I'm like, you know what, I have to just keep pushing, even though I'm uncomfortable. I definitely have a fear of being seen. And you know what? I think it's like when I went on the stage at Ashley's thing, it may not be much, but it ties directly into one of the goals that I've always had for myself. One of the goals I've always had for myself is I really picture myself on stages, not only telling my story, but inspiring other people and teaching other women how to, and everything that I have learned throughout my journey. And something that's really interesting is whenever I go out for walks with my dog, there's this park that has, I think it's called pickleball or something. It's like this platform, it's long, and it's like on the ground. And sometimes when there's no one at the park, I go in that little area with my dog, and I literally pretend like I'm talking on a stage to people. So, and I like how when it comes to manifestation, it all starts with visualization, and then eventually that's when, like, you get to the point where you put yourself out there and you make it happen, and then you live the moment. But at first you kind of have to imagine it. So there's so many times, like, I mean, people at the park, they would know because they just see me on the stage. They're not close to me to hear like all of the crap that I'm saying and pretending like I'm talking to an audience. But that like it all starts from there, and I have a really big dream of just being a public speaker and talking about my journey and everything. I had even joined, I think, Toastmasters, which is it's a program that helps people just learn how to be improve in public speaking. And I think the first time I went there, they were like, are you sure this is your first time here? And I was like, yes, it is indeed my first time. But it's just because I really practice it, because I and anything that I've been obsessed with in my mind because I want it, I eventually got it. Whether it took years, whether it was instant. So that's why I want to continue with that vision, and any chance that I get to put myself out there, even though I'm uncomfortable, I want to go ahead and do it.
It's funny that you mentioned the public speaking because I was also visualizing like public speaking. I wasn't really doing much about it because I was focused on other things. And then it happened and I was like, oh my God, I have been visualizing this for a month. And remember the time that you told me about how you wrote a specific amount to get a notification payment and then you
Yes,
got
that's
it?
exact. I was gonna bring that up as well. So basically, before I got my first ever Shopify notification, I don't remember if I had seen the because obviously I was in a mentorship. So a lot of people were sending out their success stories. So what I used to do is I used to look at that notification, and I used to. I mean, I didn't close my eyes. I used to just look at the image, but I used to feel the emotions of how I would feel when I would first get that notification. It really felt real because I saw it, I imagined it pop up on my phone. So my like, the vision was very clear when it came down to that. One thing I realized though, when it comes to manifestation, is you have to be very, very specific when you manifest. I used to use reminders because I knew that reminders, when it's time to remind you something, it would pop up on your phone and it would stay at the top. So what I used to do is I used to go into reminders and I used to write what I wanted to manifest. So I used to write, I think I wrote, I got my first sale. I put it, let's say, as a reminder that's going to remind me in a few seconds, and I used to never remove it from my phone screen. So every time I opened my phone, I used to see, oh, I got a sale, and I wrote it in the present tense. But what ended up happening was I was on vacation with my partner at the time, and around the, like, I remember we were sleeping in the hotel, and I woke up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. I looked at my phone, Shopify notification, $2,000. What the heck? Like, in my sleep, I was pleasantly surprised. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't even think I went back to bed after that, because I was like, okay, well, like, what's next? Like, I need to figure out how this entire thing works. And but remember, my notification, no, my reminder for that is related to my manifestation, it said I got my first sale. Unfortunately, the product that the client wanted was not in stock, and it was my first sale. I didn't know that I could offer, like, him to receive it in like a few weeks or a few months or whatnot. I forgot what the delay was. But unfortunately, that sale did not go through. But in that moment, I was like, okay, I just manifested a first sale. I didn't manifest keeping the money. So I was like, okay, I need to be more specific. So then I went on, and I think I said, okay, I've made this amount of money, and it deposited into my account. So, and it was so crazy because I still have screenshots of on my phone. I think I had put XX, which meant like I just wanted five figures. And for some reason, there's a a financial director or something like that for a school that placed an order for a Yamaha QL1 mixer that costed $9,000. And I was like, what the heck? Because I manifested 10,000 and now 9,000 is already coming in. All I have to do is just make the extra 1,000. And eventually I got like a second order. It was like another 1,000 and I had actually reached my 5-figure goal. So I always write my manifestations, and there's different ways to constantly remind yourself of said manifestations, but writing it down is so like visualizing it, writing it down, finding images. Even right now I have my vision board literally in my face, like it's the background of my computer. Like I eat, breathe, and sleep this because it's like you just have to.
Yeah, what you focus on will always expand. I love that you also mentioned the feeling of it, because this is something that I feel like a lot of people kind of overlook. And this is something that I started doing a few years ago, and I saw how immensely changed so much for me to just really be in the feeling. I'm also do something very, very similar to you. I always write out my manifestation super specific, and I also get really specific about the feeling. And when I remind myself of my manifestation, I visualize it, but I also literally feel it as if I'm like looking back almost at
Yes,
a day that like I've already had,
exactly.
or like I'm in that moment, and it feels so real. And then next thing you know, it happens, and then it like fortifies my belief that like holy shit, like everything that I do, like
Mhm.
visualize and everything, it happens. And so it keeps like just piling on top of each other. And like that's how I manifested like literally either overnight things or long-term things or whatever, so many goals. So I'm big on feelings,
Yes.
on like feeling it, not just writing it.
Exactly. They say our bodies they can't, our body and mind can't tell the difference between, like, a thought and a lived experience. So whenever you imagine it and you visualize it and you feel it, your body's literally going to think that you're experiencing the win that you're imagining. So definitely, yeah.
And then it tricks your brain, and then you make it happen.
Mhm. Exactly. It's as easy as that. And it's like for the people who choose to not believe in manifestation, it's their choice. But I feel like it's just this science that is in your advantage. And it's like you either choose to use it and to fast track all of like the goals that you want to accomplish, or you can choose to not believe in it. But at the end of the day, it's science. And it's like even if you were to look at it from a religious perspective, it's called faith. It's just simply believing that, whatever it is that, you want to accomplish will indeed accomplish. And when you have faith, like, and on the manifestation side, it's like certainty, right? Certainty will take you so much further because it's like you will show up. Why? Because you know exactly that, like, the efforts that you're putting into will automatically translate into the result that you want. So I don't understand why somebody would not sit down, learn about it, and like master it, because life just becomes so much easier once you've truly mastered the concept of manifestation and all that.
I don't even think about the people who don't believe in manifestation. Like in my head, I'm like, if you're around me in my bubble, like you just, I'll just assume, I'll just
Exactly.
like we're all in the same boat. Because otherwise, why are you on my boat?
No, exactly.
Oh my God. Okay. Like, what's the vision that you're painting? I know, like, you're big on like systemizing and AI and all of that stuff.
So, because I'm in a new field, I am not a fan of the chaos. I love being structured and organized. Yeah, it really feels chaotic right now. I'm not gonna lie. I have to be transparent. It's very chaotic. But it's because in order to build a system, you kind of have to get your hands dirty, because you're not gonna start a business with a system. You have to get your hands dirty. You have to figure out what the process is, what the flow is, so then you can build a system that supports whatever it is that you're doing. So right now I kind of have to stay within the chaos, learn about it, analyze it, and then my goal is to really have like just a structure that gives me a soft life. Well, first of all, right now I'm helping out a lot of individual entrepreneurs or smaller businesses, but my goal would be to offer automation services for larger companies, because I am in the high ticket field. I love money, and love money loves me. So like the goal is to have bigger clients, so that way we can make bigger dollars. So that will require me to further my knowledge and experience, and obviously continue to establish myself as an expert in my field. I want to obviously refine my offer and messaging, so that is something that I will do as I continue on. One of the things that I want to do is really like apply a lot of the automations to my own life. So let's say, for example, have an agent that scrapes the web and looks for opportunities for me, so public speaking opportunities, and then I would then redirect them over to my website. So there's a whole flow that I want to do. Right now is just really the time to set up this system that will basically work for
There's a
me.
lot of things in your horizon, and you're like juggling pretty much all of it. I want to close out this episode with our classic round of obsess or repelled. You're either obsessed or you're repelled. There's no in between. Working on vacation, obsess or repelled?
Obsessed. I brought my laptop. I
Yeah.
brought my
Oh
laptop.
my God.
I'm a
Yes.
workaholic. It's listen. Listen.
Okay, Slay, we're definitely on the same. Like, I'm, me too. I'm like that. Matcha, obsessed or repelled?
I'm repelled. I'm so sorry, guys. I've tried it. I've tried it. I just can't. It tastes like grass to me. I'm so sorry.
I would say it is an acquired taste.
Yes.
I will say that. Working in cozy clothes or done up.
Done up. The reason why is because when you feel good, no, when you look good, you feel good, and when you feel good, you do good. So, and on top of that, if you get good ideas and you're done up, you can just like take your phone and like film content without having to feel like, oh my gosh, like I need to go put on makeup or whatever. So, definitely working well done up. Yeah.
The final one, consistency or quality for content. Which one would you pick for repel? Which one would you pick for obsess?
Consistency. All the way, all the way, all the way. Consistency. Yes.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so, so much for being on the podcast today. It was amazing having you, and hopefully have you back on and talk some more.
I would love that. Thank you so much for having me. I had a blast. It felt really nice to be able to talk about these things that we're just aligned.
Well, can you just leave kind of like your main platform that people can like go follow you on to go see that content that you're saying you're gonna post? We're gonna keep you accountable. We're gonna
Yes.
keep you
So they can find me at Kelly with an S after .nex.
and I will leave the link down below. Send it to someone, share it to a friend that you know would absolutely like eat up this conversation and love to like eavesdrop on everything we talked about today. And as always, I will meet you here next week.
Thanks so much for tuning in, and don't forget to leave your 5-star rate and review on the podcast. I love to know what you guys think of the episodes, and I will meet you here next week.